Hi, listeners. My name is Beatriz, and I'm your host for today's podcast. I am an entrepreneur and business coach and the owner of Be a Boss Coaching. Come on over, check us out on Instagram at Be a Boss Coaching, all one word, and check us out at beabosscoaching.com. Now, let's dive into today's amazing guest. Today, I'm thrilled to have a special guest with us, Monica Avila. Monica is the designer and owner of Luna and Leche Maternity, a maternity clothing line that centers around breastfeeding and pumping friendly styles. She's not just an entrepreneur, but she stands as an innovator, identifying gaps in the market and offering solution oriented designs. Monica's journey has been a blend of creativity and resilience, from relocating to managing the intricacies of starting and growing her business. Monica shares a heartfelt journey with us today, brimming with valuable insights for aspiring fashion entrepreneurs. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Be a Boss Coaching Podcast, a leading podcast where we redefine entrepreneurship through the entrepreneurship journeys of women of color, BIPOC, and queer entrepreneurs. I'm Beatriz Rivera, and as a social worker turned entrepreneur coach and podcast host, I share my own journey and story. I decided to start my own coaching business during the pandemic when I was helping my dad, a veteran business owner, to keep his 23-year-old business open. Since then, I've thrown myself into courses, coaching, podcasts, and books. However, I've learned that entrepreneurship is a journey and we can all learn from each other's stories, mistakes, successes, and redefining the boundaries of what entrepreneurship can be. Subscribe to get new episodes every Monday and Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're officially live. Hi, Monica.
Hi. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for coming on to the Be a Boss Coaching podcast. I'm really excited to hear more about you, learn more about you and your story. So why don't we get started with sharing your name and the name of your business, and we can take it from there.
All right. My name is Monica Avila. I am the owner and designer of Luna and Leche Maternity, which is a maternity clothing line that focuses on breastfeeding and pumping friendly styles.
Great. I was reading your story, which I know you're going to get into, and I want to go into it. I know you have a background in design, going to school for fashion. So if you could share more about your background and how that led to the start or to the idea of starting Luna and Leche Maternity.
Yeah, so I grew up, and I currently live again in a small little farm town in Central California. And it's 3 hours basically from everything. So you could go to the ocean in 3 hours. You could go to a big city in 3 hours. You could go to the snow in less than 3 hours. And although it was fun growing up here, now that I look back on it, like at the time I was like, I don't like it here. There's nothing to do here. I want to go live in a big city, work in a big city. So a week after I graduated high school, I moved to San Francisco. I went to design school there, got my bachelor's of fine arts. And then about a year after graduating from there, I moved down to LA. And I had lived from at that point to LA. So I graduated in 2000. I left San Francisco in 2011. And then I moved to LA, Long Beach, bounced around in different areas down there up until 2 years ago. And so while I was down there, I was working a lot for corporate fashion companies. So I worked with celebrity lines, got to design for celebrities. I've worked in costume design. So I had a very good familiarity with the design industry. And then when it came to where I had my daughter, I knew exactly what I needed. I was like, okay, I'm a mom of a newborn. I need clothes that I could breastfeed in. I chose to breastfeed. And so I was like, okay, I need to go to the store. This is going to be easy. I'm going to be in and out in between feedings. I'm going to go find some maternity clothing that I could breastfeed super easy in. That's it, in and out. So I was going and I was searching the store. Nada, nothing. I didn't find no I found, like, one tank top, and my daughter was born in November, so I'm like, "What is a tank top gonna do?" It's the middle of November. Granted, it's LA, like, winter, but still, it's like, I'm not gonna go running around in a tank top. But that was it. That's all I really found was, like, just basic things that go under garments, to easily breastfeed. I'm like, "No, there has to be something out there that, like, just there are cute, fashionable shirts, sweaters, whatever that I could breastfeed in?" And so I was searching, even went online, went into bigger box department stores, couldn't find anything. And so I was just getting so frustrated at the point that I just started making my own, and then that whole, like, light bulb thing that people tell you happened. It's, "Hey, you work in the fashion industry. You've always wanted to have your own something at some point." Like, that was the end game, but I never knew what it was until that moment. I was like, "I'm gonna have a maternity clothing line that focuses on breastfeeding and pumping-friendly styles because this is ridiculous." No mom like, moms are stressed out enough and trying to get everything done between feedings, and to worry about something as simple as what clothes can I breastfeed in? Like, why does it have to be this difficult? That shouldn't even be an option. So I decided to go for it a few years after that whole light bulb happened. And then I had my maternity clothing line. We launched about 2 years ago.
2 years ago, so 2022.
Hmm. Yeah, but I
Okay.
had been trying to get it off the ground since right before the pandemic. So 2020. So it took me a while to gain confidence to do it, to get like the legal stuff done. That took a long time because I started it right when the pandemic, like right before the pandemic, and then everything shut down. So then my lawyer, she was messaging me like, "Hey, we don't know when the government's going to open back up, so just hang tight and we'll get your trademark and stuff going as soon as we're able to." So yeah, it's been a long, patient driven journey.
Wow. That yeah, the whole starting a business during the pandemic, everyone has their own unique story. So that's really awesome to hear about yours. Well, that's awesome. I'm really honestly, I thought about it and I was like, you're right. There aren't that many fashionable, cute maternity clothes. And you know what? It makes sense that that wouldn't be the case because, in our current society, like there's so much opinion about what mothers should be wearing,
Yeah.
and what they should show and like how they should
Hmm.
look, and I'm like, no. Like, why can't mothers like wear, fashion,
Yeah.
nice colors, bright colors? Like, it doesn't, yes, you want to be comfortable, but you also want to be fashionable. So I'm glad that you, as a designer and someone experienced in the fashion world, and I'm sure like you have your own style, right? Like before you were
Hmm.
a mother, were you really into fashion before you were a mom?
Yeah, I always have been, and, like, I've never had a specific, like, genre type of clothing. I kind of, like to pull from everything, and then once I became a mom, like a lot of moms, we kind of go into those I call them dark days, but, like, postpartum depression, like, that's a real thing, and part of that for me was, like, I lost my identity, not only in the way I express myself because I couldn't dress how I wanted to. I had to dress how the industry, like, what they provided me. I couldn't dress in my own unique clothing. So I think that made me go a little bit deeper into my postpartum depression. I just felt not me in so many ways. Like, my body was completely changed. My mind was, like, struggling. I was lacking sleep. I couldn't wear what made me feel, me. So yeah, so that's why I thought it was important to create this type of line because moms, breastfeeding moms, pumping moms just need more options because there's not a lot out there. And what is out there is very old school, I like to say. There's no innovation in it. It's wovens, which nobody postpartum wants to wear, a woven shirt because it's pretty restrictive. And then there's like pastels and paisleys and this floral everywhere. And that wasn't me. I was never a floral person. So yeah, I just wanted to give these moms an option, another option.
That is so cool. Yeah. I really I just appreciate the that identification and that gap, and then also really finding like another opinion. I think that the reason why there's not a lot of options out there for mothers to wear cute clothes and bright colors and or neon colors. I was just looking at some of your pieces, and I love the neon piece that you had. I
Thank you.
don't.
I know I love them too. They're so fun, right?
Yeah, it's so fun. Neon colors are fun. I'm like, mom colors. It's pinks and like you said, pastel colors. Like
Yeah.
they're okay, but sometimes you want to dress in like fun, bright colors,
Yeah.
that
They're
are
mood
still
changing
fashionable.
colors.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of a common feeling is that postpartum depression. So to be able to impact that emotion from not just colors but fashion,
Hmm.
I think is brilliant. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that you're the person doing that.
Thank
On
you.
top of that you were a person in the fashion world and really coming from that industry. So you mentioned that there was like this aha moment when after having your daughter and becoming a mom. And I wonder, I know you said it had taken you a bit of time to really get this off the ground. And I'm wondering what were some of the challenges that you were facing or experiencing during that time to get this started.
Hey there, fellow entrepreneur. Before we dive back into our discussion, I just wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude for tuning in. Your support means the world to me, and I'm thrilled to have you on this journey. Now, if you're finding yourself navigating the roller coaster of entrepreneurship and could use a guiding hand, I got just the solution for you. That's where beabosscoaching.com comes in. It's your one-stop destination for all things entrepreneurship coaching. Whether you're seeking guidance on strategy, mindset, or anything in between, I've got your back. Head over to beabosscoaching.com to learn more about the support I offer and to book your free 1-hour coaching call. Trust me, taking that first step could be the game changer you've been looking for. Thanks again for listening. And remember, you've got what it takes to thrive in the world of entrepreneurship. Let's make it happen together.
Yeah. So when that light bulb went off, like my daughter, she was within the first, I was still on maternity leave. So within 3 months of her being alive. And I was like, oh, this is a great idea. Let me just wait until I kind of adjust to motherhood and then I'm going to get focused on it. And then my maternity leave came and went, and it was still in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, I need to do something. So I started doing things slowly. So I was making patterns myself for garments that I'll be like, oh, we're gonna go into production with this. Like we'll start there. I'll do the patterns because that's a big expense is delegating patterns to someone. And so I did that and then nothing came of it. And so finally, I think another few months went by. I finally went to a manufacturer, and at this time I lived in LA, so it was easy for me to find a manufacturer. I had appointments, and then I asked them. I was like, "Okay, well, this is my pattern." And they're like, "Okay, do you want us to source the fabric? What do you want us to do? What do you want to do?" Because that's how they determine the cost. And since I had a newborn, I was like, I'm not going to be able to like source fabric, source trims, source thread, none of that. Like, I'm going to need you to do it. I'm going to tell you what to look for, the colors to look for. And so, all that said and done, I had my pattern, gave it to them. And then for just one style and the amount of SKUs, which is the amount of garments I wanted, they're like, okay, that's going to be roughly around $10,000 for one style. And so I was like, oh, okay. that's a lot more than I thought it was going to be for one style. So I was like, oh man. And so that put a big pause on it too, because I had to readjust how I was going to launch this company because I didn't want to go into my life savings just for one style. I was like, if I'm going to do it, it needs to be like a patent pending type of style if I'm going to drop that much while being a new mom and all this other stuff. So it took me a while to reimagine how I'm going to be launching this company. I had to think in a smaller scale versus what I was used to in corporate fashion, whereas like we just do we do our patterns in house, we do first sample in house and we send it off. And then somebody else picks up the paycheck, right? It's not on my pocket. So that was a big adjustment. And then come to the point when I finally figured out, okay, this is how I want the business to be ran. This is how I'm going to be able to financially support it. And it was coming time to finalize and work on my trademark. Another curveball came to where they told me I couldn't use my initial name that I had. It was too similar to another company that is a huge company, and they don't provide garments regularly. Like they don't do garments like I do. It's a huge I'll just say it, it's La Leche League. And so it's a huge corporation if you know of them, but they do provide one nursing bra and they sell it on their website. And because of that one bra, I wasn't able to go forward with my original name. So then again, it was back to the drawing board, trying to figure out a different name. And that was really hard too, because I thought I had, swept away all the big hurdles, like starting off and just hitting launch on my website. And then that one came up and that one just threw me off for a while. And then I had to get help. I had to get business coaching at that point because I was like, I'm stuck. I'm in a deep hole. I don't know how to get out of it. And with that business coach, she was able to help me figure it out along with an organization called We All Grow Latina. They used to have office hours. And so I would go there and we would brainstorm there. And I was just trying to get as many free resources to help me go over this slump and into the brighter days of me being able to just press launch and start my company.
Wow. Yeah. And a shout out to We All Grow, right?
Yeah.
there's just there's so much resources, and that's how I got into Wendy's Inspired Action Tribe, and that's how you and I
Wow, perfect.
connected as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so much connection and resources and advice, and people just wanting to make sure that you get over any challenges that you're facing. I'm glad that you found that community. So this was when you were experiencing those challenges. This was like, how long ago was this? Was like 2 years ago?
So my first daughter is now 9 years old. So it took me a long time. It took me a long time. I think for me to put myself serious, there was one New Year's Eve, and I can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020. And my New Year's resolution, how everybody talks New Year's resolution. Well, mine was like, okay, Monica, you have two options. And this company had been brewing in my head for a while. And I told myself I have two options. Either I pursue this business and I go full-fledged and go for it, or I don't and never speak of it again. Like the words of, oh, I tried to do that, nothing would ever spit out of my mouth. And I had to sit in that and I was like, ooh, I don't like that option. Like that option, no. Like it was a big, like, we're not going that route. So I was like, okay, this is my body telling me like, we're going to go for it. It's not going to be an idea anymore. And I need you to take it seriously and get it off the ground. And so since then I did, and I was going, and I've been going ever since.
Ooh, you gave me chills, girl. I felt that energy. I was like, okay, let's do it. You know, let's get this off the ground. Oh, how exciting. And I'm so, I mean, I felt the energy that you were in that moment. So I'm so glad that you kept with that energy, and you really found yourself there and got in tune with your body and were really listening to yourself. So that's great. I mean, I have just a follow-up question around that. And I think because when it comes to challenges in business, right? They can be very demotivating. You, like you said, you felt stuck,
Mm-hmm.
and you faced all of these moments where there are just curveballs coming your way. And I'm wondering how you practice that practice of listening to yourself and really knowing when to ask for help, or knowing when you needed to start working with a business coach. Like how did you know, or like how do you practice listening to yourself and figuring out what you need to do next?
Yeah. So for me to reach out and well, Wendy and I had bumped into each other a few times prior before like I even signed up with Inspired Action. And she had talked, gave me her little speech, kind of a little bit, not her full-fledged one, but we met. I forgot how it came about, but she had a ticket to, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Super Mamas, the Super Mamas podcast. They had some family event in LA, and she like put it on her social media. Who wants to go? I have 2 free tickets. So I was like, oh, I'm free. Like me and my daughter will go. And we have daughters about the same age. I think her twins are closer to my oldest daughter's age. And so she's like, yeah, we'll go meet. We'll talk really quick. So we did that and it was really fun. And so she had always been on my radar. And again, through We All Grow, she had her what does she call it? Something hours. Um she has
Oh,
it.
the
She has
holding hands.
holding hands, yes. She has holding
Yeah.
hands, which is another like coaching segment that they offer. And so I was going to that pretty regularly because it was in the middle of pandemic and I needed some sort of outlet. And then it came to the point where I wasn't able to use my name anymore. And I was like, I'm completely stuck. Like I don't even know where to go. Like I just felt so stuck. Like, I don't know. I need help. So I think at that point, I didn't really feel like I just had no option. It's like, I need to find somebody to help me because I'm stuck in this for too long. Like it had been a couple of months already. And I'm like, my creative juice has just been swiped clean completely. So that's when I started, and that's when I started working with her and then going to the office hours a little bit more. I'd gone to the beginning of them, like right when they started, and then I kind of fizzled out. I was like, I need to start being more consistent with the We All Grow office hours because it's helping me. It's even with me not even saying anything, just people's discussion, like it was helping my creative juices come back again. And then I ended up finding somebody who helped me come up with a name. And then we sent that to the trademark and it's my official name, Nuna Nature Maternity.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I think that those are ways. I like to talk about those ways that we listen to ourselves and how you practice that and how do you know. Just because when you're feeling that stuck, sometimes we don't know what that even feels like in our
Hmm.
body, and what that should look like when how to move forward. And just so for anybody who might be feeling stuck and might be on this brink of, I don't know, maybe like you said, I either I go and figure this out or I never speak of this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you've ever, if you're on that brink, practice listening to your body and figuring that out. And how do you listen to yourself, and how do you know you need help, and like how do you look for help? So
Yeah. And there's a lot of, I want to, make note too, you don't necessarily have to pay somebody to help you. Like there's so many free resources, free like open hours, like We All Grow does. But there's other ones too, where it's, hey, let's just get our creative juices, even if it's just us on Zoom and everybody's doing their own thing. We're not even talking, but just being in that creative space helps a lot too. And it helps your like, just a different part of your brain start moving more.
yeah, I think it's the energy that
Hmm.
people bring, even if it's through virtual
Yeah.
or on the screen. I think it's still, that energy can still, it's still possible.
Hmm.
So yeah, look for that energy, look for that motivating energy, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, since you've started, if you've ever felt any instances of feeling like this is a fluke or like in those moments, I know you've talked a little bit about like the challenges and feeling stuck, but in terms of being in the industry of fashion, because that industry can be like they have their own rules and unspoken rules. And so I'm wondering if you've ever felt that those feelings of not belonging and how you navigate that.
Yeah, I don't feel, well, okay, let me think of how I'm going to answer that. I feel very comfortable in my education that I went to school. I went to school for fashion, all that. So I'm very confident in what I bring to the table. However, there have been instances, like even day to day, like I'm working, what am I doing? Like it's challenging. My most challenging part for me was me giving up a pretty comfortable lifestyle working in corporate fashion and then leaving it to start my own business. And then me thinking, like, man, am I really talented enough to run my own business? Like, sure, I could work in a corporate setting and do really well, but doing my own business and doing it all on myself, like, that's where a lot of the like mind stuff happens for me. And like, that's imposter syndrome type of thing. Man, is it like really me? And then something will happen to where like the signs align and I get the sign, yes, you. Like there was one point even I was just like, man, I think it was last Christmas. It's like this, I'm really struggling this, quarter and all this other stuff and thinking, the imposter syndrome thoughts. And then I had a lunch or a dinner with some old high school friends that I hadn't seen in years. And they all of a sudden brought up my company and they're like, man, Monica, we're super proud of you. Like you're doing it and, and just giving me just confidence. And it's wait, yeah, I am doing it. I'm good. I just had a moment of like weakness, but I have all the tools I need to do great. So yeah, not so much in the fashion settings. Like I am pretty solid there and extremely comfortable of my skill set. When it comes to like corporate fashion and stuff like that, yes, there is cattiness, but I think that's any company at anywhere you go. It's just if you get a lot of people in one spot, not everybody flows together and that's fine. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's cattiness in the fashion industry, but it's just a lot of people giving opinion. But then when it comes to me and my entrepreneurial journey, it's a lot of me and like my mind and trying to navigate that day by day.
Yeah, yeah. How do you, as a fashion creative person, how do you balance both being in the headspace of your creativity for your fashion line and in the mind space of being a business owner?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure that out. There'll be times where I'm doing really great on social media and I'm being super consistent and communicating with people. And then it's, oh yeah, I need to start thinking of the next collections. Oh, but my brain stepped out because I did all this and did all these setups. And then there'll be other times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I did so much designing today. I have so much inspiration. My mood board is done. And it's, oh, but I haven't posted on social media in a while. So it's trying to figure out. And the reason why I draw back to social media is just because that's, I feel like my main marketing tool right now. So that's my thing for entrepreneurial is like my marketing right there. That's what I'm focused on. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out, still trying to play with it and see what's going to work for me. Yeah, it's difficult, but I believe it can be done. I haven't gotten it down yet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always, I think as you go, as you're making moves, and even when they're challenging, uh, it's how you know how you operate and how
Yeah.
you tune yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Are there any particular investments that you've made in your business that you feel have really helped you to move the needle forward? And are there any investments that maybe you learned from? There was more of a lesson rather than like an ROI.
Hmm. For me, my business coach, I think, has been the best investment so far. Wendy Amara, she's done amazing and she pushes me, and I've been with her for 4 something years now, for a while. And so she has been my biggest like tool. I know she always has my back. I know she is there whenever I really need her. And with any questions I have, she's there. Um, and she gives advice from the heart because I feel like she knows me so well now. And so that has been a really good thing. Like, it's not just like a copy paste type of answer. It's okay, this is you. This is what you've been working on. Are you giving me BS right now, or are you actually giving me the truth? And so I work well under conditions like that. Like, yeah, just give me the truth, Monica. So that has been super helpful. And then any investments that I've learned from, I mean, I learned from all of them, but I feel like the biggest one that I could think of right now is when I was in the beginning stages, getting my trademark, figuring out my name, like just to really lean on community. And that was an investment that was free, which is awesome. That didn't have to cost me anything but my time. And that helped me a lot. Like, it helped me pull me out of my funk. It helped me, find my creativity again, because I was at a point where I was like, I don't feel creative at all to even go at this. And then another big investment was relocating. So moving my family, we moved from LA to back to Central California again. So I had more time. So I had more time to pursue my company and to have it thrive and grow, because it wasn't growing as fast and as much as I had wanted to down in LA, because I didn't have as much support. I have one brother down there, but I have a lot more family here. So those are the three things that really helped me, that I invested in to help me further my business.
Thank you. Are there any specific skills that you feel you have really grown in within your journey as an entrepreneur? And if there are any skills that you believe are really important to continue in this journey?
Hmm. Uh, talk about yourself. Talk about yourself and your company. All right. And I say that because I have always been pretty decent when it comes to like public speaking. You give me a script, I could do it. And then when it came time to talk about me and my business and push myself, oh, I was very uncomfortable. Just talking about me. Like, it seems so simple now that it's, oh yeah, give me a mom and I could tuck her ear off about, my company and the benefits of it. But when I first started off, like, that was really hard for me, just to talk about myself and my company. It's like, man, no, like, I moved over here to pursue my business. And when I introduce people, I tell them all the other things that I'm doing. And then my business is like the quiet little one in the back. It's like, why am I doing that? That should be like the first thing. Like, I'm Monica and this is my company. And that was really challenging. So once you get comfortable doing that, I think it's easier to do a lot of other things, because you're just very upfront, and you shift your mindset to being like, oh, I'm this and this and this. Oh, and I have a business. Like, no, I'm this person and here is my business. But then I also do these other things. So putting that as like my primary energy that I give out, I think has helped me grow and be more comfortable in being a business owner.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm wondering if there's any other fashion designer folks out there who would like to start their own line or their own business with their own creativity and designs. What would you say is one of the first things they should do? And what are some additional tips you can give them for someone that's thinking about that?
hmm So I heard this story once, and it's always stuck with me. And I forgot who said it. I forgot where the setting was, but it was, and then this is for people who want to do something, but they're like, oh, but there's already people already doing it, right? So the story was when you walk into a grocery store and you go into the bread aisle, you see dozens of brands of bread, but you only choose one because that specific one is for you. You like that one. So it's okay if there's dozens of people doing something similar to what you want to do, for, in this case, bread, right? Dozens of brands creating bread, but you're going to go to your specific one because you like that specific one. So if, as long as you stay true to you and know your market, the people are going to find you. Even if there's tons and tons of other people out there, they're going to find you. So that was my fun little story that I always keep in the back of my head. But for people who want to join and to start fashion, you kind of get overwhelmed because there is so much to do. And like, you have to figure out one, your finances, if you're able to or even want to have styles that are just yours. Know that it's not going to be the cheapest route, but if you have the financial backings for it, that would probably be the best route if that's your lane. If you have thought about starting a brand, but you don't have the financial backings to create your own styles, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people are starting brands that all they really need is some sort of art program on your tablet, on your computer, phone. And there's I'm blanking on the name. D direct to garment. It's DTF, but it's direct to garment finish, direct to garment something. So you could send your artwork over and then they'll send the prints back and you just put those directly on a garment. We use those a lot. So that's one way. If you're like a graphic designer and you draw, or like a graffiti artist and you want some of your stuff on garments, that's one way to start your clothing line for that. Or if you want to manipulate pieces that you already find, either thrifted or buy on wholesale, you could always buy those pieces and then manipulate them into what you want your niche to be. So there's a lot of different options to start off a clothing line. It just depends on which route you want to go towards.
Awesome. Well, thank you for both those options because, yeah, I think finances always impacts and influences the route that you can go, or
Mm,
maybe you have just this one option, but at least there's an option to start. So it's possible to start, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like that getting started and entering the fashion industry or really any industry, it can feel intimidating, but it's possible.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that you're providing that example. What's and this is just a question that just came to me, but what's next for Luna and Leche Maternity?
Well, right now, what I'm working on are grants, trying to get grants. I have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. If I were to get a decent size one, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do for the community here in the Central Valley. But one is to push out marketing. That's one thing that I want to focus on is to get the word out because not a lot of moms have heard about my company yet. So I want to, like I said, we're still pretty green. We're year just hit 2 years. So I just want to get the word out. Two, at some point, I don't know when this is going to happen, but at some point, and I'm already putting it out there, I want to have, so where I live, Central California, it's a huge farming community. And there are women who work in the farming industry, so picking the crops or working in the warehouses who are expecting. And I want to have an event just for those women. I want to be able to pamper them. I want to have gynecologists. I want to have people in HR just talk to them so they know their rights as mothers working in the fields. Because sometimes they don't know all that could be offered to them or all that they could take. Like maybe they could take a longer leave than they had known. So I want stuff like that to be addressed to them just because, that doesn't get talked like it doesn't get talked about as often as it should about their rights, I feel. So, yeah, I want to be able to do that and to offer it to them. That is like a long goal dream of mine unless I get the backing for it because I don't know. I've never hosted an event like that before, so it would just be completely brand new. I feel like it would take me a while to figure it all out, but that is an end goal of mine of what I want to do. So when that happens, I'll let you know. But yeah, so those are the two most current things that I'm working on with Luna and Meche.
Awesome. Well, you put it out into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, call it in. Call it in.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited for everything that you're gonna do and everything that you have in store for Luna and Leche Maternity, and then for the women in your community as well. That sounds an amazing event. Like you said, it's not talked about or as often as it should be for women in working in the fields.
Mm-hmm.
So I you put it out, girl. So call it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Before we wrap, where can people find you? What are some ways that people can look at your work and support you?
Yeah. So you could purchase garments on our website at lunaandleche.com. And then we are on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, if you go to at lunaandleche_maternity. And in person too, if you sign up to our newsletter, you could figure out where you'll find us in person because we do pop-up shops all throughout California. So we just had one in Central California last month. And then later on this month in March, we will be having one at Latina Fest. We'll be over there, which is a huge, huge event in downtown LA. So that one's really fun. There's a lot of speakers. They even have, it's a really, really cool event. So if you're able to go, I believe it's it's Palm Sunday, but I can't remember the date. The 20th, the second to last Sunday of March. But that one's a really, really cool event. There's dozens and dozens of different pop-up shops, and they're all Latinas or Latina. I'm not sure if they're all Latinas, but they're all Latina companies. And they have talks and discussions and give out grants and all this other fun stuff. So that's where you could find us too in person is there. And then if you sign up to our newsletter, we send out newsletters of other locations that you could find us if you want to shop live.
Yes. Whenever I'm at that stage of my journey, I'm definitely hoping that I can find that neon piece.
Yeah, right?
Monica. Yeah. Okay, so all the links will be in the show notes. I'm excited to see where Luna and Leche Maternity goes. Monica, I'm so proud and so happy that you started such an amazing company and filling a really necessary gap for moms out there who want to feel fashionable and still be a mom. Yeah. Breastfeed their children and do both at the same time. So I'm glad that you identified that. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your journey and everything that you've done. I know there's a lot more that we can definitely talk about. So, whenever you'd like to come back, that'd be super awesome just to share how things have been going.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, thank you so much, Monica. And we'll be on the lookout for the line or however we can support you, and everything will be. So everybody make sure go check out the show notes. Follow Monica on Instagram at Luna and Leche _maternity, and then visit the website at lunaandlechematernity.com. Is that right?
Yes, Luna and Leche. Oh wait, no, lunaandleche.com. Yeah, no maternity.
lunaandleche.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you're in LA, Latina Fest too, because it's a really, really fun event if you guys haven't gone yet.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. I'm going to check that out and see and you said that's in LA, so you're going to travel down here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would love to go. So if there's still like a link to that, I'll add that to the show notes as well.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
But thank you so much, Monica. This was amazing, and I hope you come back.
All right. Thank you. Yes, I can't wait. I'll definitely be back.
Thank you for listening to the Be a Boss Coaching podcast. Remember to come on over to the beabosscoaching.com and book your free discovery call where you can learn more about coaching with me, what it takes to start a business and grow the skills while growing your business at the same time. I'm excited to learn more from you. Remember to sign up to our newsletter and come back every Monday and Friday for new episodes.